Yo, boys, back with another video. I just went over this and I forgot to click the record button. I'm not even kidding. I am literally shocked. I'm seeing some of the nerfs and buffs, and I've never in my life just wanted to just say, okay, maybe we just don't play this season. This is the most diabolical nerfs and buffs you have ever seen. There's been no other time in history where it's like this. Nobody is shocked as much as I am right now. I've I don't know how to speak straight at this point. But let's go over it real quick. Wrestler Druid got a nerf, or they got a buff on their healing, and they also got a buff on their ancient lore PP talent. I don't even know if they run that. Like, who cares about it? Okay, so we don't really care too much. It's mainly the all healing increased by 5%, so that's gonna help them a little bit. Now this is what's gonna make Evoker one of the best healers in the game. Dream Breath is their top healing spell by a mile. If you know how to play Evoker, you know what I'm talking about. It just got buffed by 20%. 20% in PvP combat. This is not in PvE. So you're talking about a 20-fold. You know what happened when Warrior got a 15% buff and all of a sudden they just one-shot? Well, now Evokers are going to just never be able to be killed. And they're going to triple everyone's healing now. So, yeah, terrible buff, but okay. Marksman. So we're hoping we get big nerfs here. Obviously, I already know what's happening since I read all of this, but I'm still going to just give you the exact point of view. Tensile bowstring reduced the cast time of aim shot by 25%, was 50%, so at least their cast timing is getting nerfed, okay? Unerring vision increase your critical chance by 5%. Okay, so this is just talking about, critical chance. So they're still going to do a lot of damage. Somehow, some way, they nerfed and they nerfed Fire Mage, and they also kind of nerfed Survival Hunter. I'm pretty sure Flanking Strike is their main ability. Now, I may be wrong. Again, I have yet to see a single Survival Hunter, so I don't even know why they're even nerfing it at all. I feel like it should be getting buffed. Flanking Strike damage is reduced by 30%. So if this is the main ability, this spec won't be playable. But then again, they did get a 4% buff. So if it's not their main ability and they can run something else, then you might be able to play. But if this is the main ability, just don't play it. It's not worth it. It's just gonna be absolutely garbage. I wouldn't even like put. It's like gonna be worse than backstab. Spearhead increases critical strike chance by. So they also got nerfed on their critical on Deadly Deal and Spearhead. So it was 30%. They're both down 15. So Fire Mage got nerfed. I don't know how, and I don't know who thinks of this, but yeah. Severe temperature is now 50% effectiveness. I assume um this is not going to do much. I don't know if I don't know exactly what it means. I mean, I'd assume it slows. I don't really know though. Maybe it's damage. I don't see it doing much. Frostfire Empowerment now increases the damage done by 15%. So they actually got a massive nerf on their Frostfire. Fire Mage specifically. Surprisingly, I haven't seen a single Fire Mage, so we're just gonna continue to never see this spec again. It hasn't been good since Shadowlands. Um, Mistweaver, Conduit of Celestial Conduit damage decrease. Who makes these things up? I've never seen. And then Windwalker, the one class that's literally sliced one-shotting everybody. Guess what? All they did was Conduit of Celestial Conduit damage decreased by 12%. That's what they did. Do I believe that's gonna do much? No, I don't. I truly don't think at 12%. I mean, they're broken. Ret Paladin also got a massive buff. Ret Paladin's easy. It could easily be up to God tier now with MM Hunter and Windwalker and Sub Rogue. They did absolutely the worst buffs on Sub Rogue to ruin the spec for me. Again, I hate when they do it, and they do it every time. They make it. Basically they start off being really good, and then they nerf it, and then they'll buff it again so they can hardcore nerf it. And once they hardcore nerf it, it'll be unplayable for either the entire season or for the entire rest of the expansion. They do this every time. They do it on purpose. I already know why, because they just want PvE specs. But Blade of Justice damage increased by 25%. Final Verdict damage increased by 10%. Judgment damage increased by 20%. Expiration damage increased by 40%. So good on you guys. You guys get to actually just one-shot everybody again. Nice. Disagree's got nerfed. I personally don't believe it. It definitely needed a nerf, but it didn't need this bad of a nerf. This is again another diabolical nerf. Like this is just like a sub rogue. They make this breeze good, and then they absolutely nerf you to the ground. This is what the Windwalker nerf should have been. In the Hunter, in the Arms We Demolish one shot. Power World Shield absorption reduced by 10%. Powered Radiance healing reduced by 10%. Archangel now increases the healing of Evangelism by 15%, was 30%. Penance damage and healing reduced by 10%. Nice. Oracle, it doesn't really matter. The absorption get reduced by 25%. Nice. Now it looks like your Void Weaver damage as well is also nerfed by a lot. Void Infusion nerfed by 60% effectiveness in PvP combat. Now I don't know if what it started. I assume it was 100%, but I don't know. So maybe this got I don't see it doing anything. Void Blast damage increased by 30%. So they let me get this straight. So they buffed their damage but nerfed their healing. Okay. Let's just go to the next one. There's no point in talking. Okay, see, this is what I don't like to see. What in smite damage increased by 80? Like, what in the? This is Holy Priest, right? Bro, oh my. Holy Fire damage increased by 30%. Divine Hymn healing increased by 80%. Yeah, Holy Priest is still gonna be terrible. And maybe now you can run a one-shot build and nah. This is this is gonna be the funniest thing. I saw it coming. You guys already, I told you at the beginning of the season what exactly was gonna happen and exactly how I knew it was gonna happen. And I literally saw the future perfectly. They do this every single time. And guess what? Next Tuesday, or even before then probably, watch the nerfs comes in. You're talking about 30% nerfs on everything. On all major abilities. Blades, Eviscerate, Secret Technique, all and Shadow Strike. I guarantee, I can promise you, it's gonna be unplayable. Just mark my words. Finality now increases finisher damage by 8 out of 15%, so their finality got nerfed. Now that's not gonna matter much when your Shadow Strike's getting hit, or your Eviscerate's gonna be hitting 25% more. So is your Rupture. So is your Shadow Strike. And so is your Technique by 10%. So good luck with the this means nothing. Okay. Shadow Blade's now duplicates finishers at 10%. This means nothing. Even if it was 15%, so I got a 5% nerf. Again, you're talking about 20%. These are like warrior changes or Windwalker changes. We already know what happens when a class is already A tier, and then guess what? You buff them by 20+% on their main abilities. Well, what ends up happening? Well, that's simple. I can answer the question for you. You get one-shotted, and then you have to wait an entire week for Blizzard to nerf the spec to the ground so you can never play it again. For example, Survival Hunter was finally playable for a week. So, nice. So, yep. And then they did the same thing with Elemental Shaman. Wow. I am so excited to face Ellie every game. And, we had this last season. I knew it was going to happen. I knew it. They already got buffed by 5%. Now they're getting buffed by 20% on their main ability. Nice. Nice going, Blizzard. And these are, by the way, these are in PvP. This is not based off of PvE. So I wouldn't be that mad or salty if it was all based off of PvE changes. But the thing is, somebody actually thought this was a good idea. Somebody actually had to put this through their brain and do this. Lava burst damage increased by 20%. By the way, the everything up here means absolutely nothing when they're getting buffed by this hard, so we don't have to read it. It's just they're getting reduced on their overlords. It's not going to do anything. I promise you. It's the amount of buffs they're getting. Same thing as Sub-Rogue. None of these mean anything when they're getting buffed by this much. Again, it does not matter. It will not matter. So, Lightning Bolt damage increased by 30%. Lava Burst damage increased by 20%. Chain Lightning damage increased by 30%. Ice Fury damage increased by 20%. Frost Shock damage increased by 20%. Now, these two, I don't know how much they're going to extra do. I doubt they'll be like a main ability. But the main thing is Lava Burst and Lightning Bolt. Everyone's gonna be wondering the one-shot Lightning Bolt build now. You know what happens when they do the cast chain and then they can do two free lightning bolts at you. Well, they already buffed it by 5%. Now you're buffing it by 30% on top of the 20%. So what ends up happening is they'll click two buttons and you will die. And not just you, your entire team will be dead. You have fun with that. Stormbringer 10% damage increased by 20% in PvP combat. Nice. I'm pretty sure this is the ability that I was talking about, I think. Is it Stormbringer? Is this literally what I was just talking about? Are you telling me they buffed this as well? Now, I don't know if this is actually ability. You guys want to let me know below. If this is the ability, yeah, I say no more. And now we have warrior nerfs. Champions might critical strike damage decreased to 15% was 25%. What is does champions might like their wait. Does that mean demolish is gonna be bad, or are they still gonna one shot with it? I mean, they nerfed their crit, their critical strike. Does that mean like on their demolish now they're not gonna get as much critical strike? Or the whole problem with Arms Warrior is they're one shotting and with demolish. Other than that, they don't really need nerfs. It's just demolish. You need to take the ability out of the game. There should be no convoke ability. If you're gonna do it that way, give everyone convoke abilities and let everyone one shot. Just give every single spec a one shot, just like Shadowlands. I would rather everyone be on a fair playing field. Click your burst macro, and whoever CC's best wins the game. If you're gonna do it like that, if we're gonna do buffs like these, let's just let everybody do it in every spec in the game. That way, the better players will be able to one shot, and the worst players will be able to one shot you, but you'll one shot them first. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the nerfs and buffs. Unfortunately, this is very, very ignorant, disappointing, and the thing is, I'm not even that salty anymore. It's more of a disappointment. It really is. I was a main on Sub Rogue as well, and I'm disappointed because I hate when Sub Rogue becomes good and then it gets butchered because I finally want to play it, and then a week later it gets nerfed. We will be making videos on it for a week before it gets nerfed, obviously, just for the content, and then it gets obviously butchered, and then we just play Assassination the rest of the game. But yeah, yeah. That's pretty much all I have to say about this. I think everyone can agree with me. There's not a single person in the world right now that thinks otherwise, that these are not the worst buffs in the entire game. Naj, Naj will 100% this is too much. I swear, if I watch Naj when these buffs come in and he's like, Sub Rogue's not that good, even I would know that's just funny. No, yeah. Elemental Shaman, Sub Rogue, and Prezivoker. Buffing, and no. Ret Paladin, Sub Rogue, Elemental Shaman, and Prezivoker. They did not need this. I'm telling you. I don't think you guys know how strong 20% on their main healing ability. Now I can see their overall healing by 4% or 6%. 20% on Dream Breath, again, is I don't think you guys understand how much healing it's going to do. They already did a ton of healing. You're quadrupling people's healing, pretty much. Like, if you're a good Prezivoker, you'll see them easily top your healing. So, yeah, this is pretty much all I have to say about this, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys enjoy having your, I mean, I know Ellie's not going to get nerfed, and if it does, it's going to be like 10%. No, I mean, I actually kind of want to play Ellie, to be honest, because it's just like, it actually sounds fun to play, just like AFK and free cast. It's the only caster that I actually play that's semi-fun, because you don't have to really do anything, but, yeah. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace, baby.